This shows how far we've climbed, even if we haven't quite reached it.
Okay, Deku lives and's got it.
And this is some really scary stuff. Catch gets the wow charge up smash and picks it up there.
Don't do it! Don't do it. Give him one.
Puts him in the awkward situation though, where if Pipsqueak loses the stock now, Nicky's in a really bad spot.
There it is.
They close it out. It's really rough.
Ken? Oh, man.
They both died for it. What?
Oh, they need to get this comeback if they want to stay in this game.
What a bomb! What a bomb! Are you serious? Oh my god, 6, you're out of your mind!
Oh, no.
Probably the most difficult matchup out of the top tiers, and that closes it out.
13 stocks.
This match,
that might be it. Not perfectly but still
In the
alive.
matchup pretty well.
Definitely. And Buffy's at the burst attachment.
Oh man, Chansey can't seem to find putting in that back.
Oh my
He just
God.
went out there.
The wall of pain, and that's it.
Yeah.
But as you mentioned, last stock situation. 90%.
Reverse 3-0!
He's clinging on to this match, honestly.
Oh, but then Ice just anticipates that approach.
No Trip gets the grab forward throw. It's so hard. Waiting.
And then I'll smash out shield from Pip, and then Pip gets caught jumping. And there you go. Trip does clean it up in the end. Wow.
Keep his shield for a bit more time than usual. He's just getting all of the right answer. He's
Off stage, and that's gonna be it. I think Trip 3-0ing
In the second set, wow, Trip. He's back on form. Pip, you can have one set, but I am having the tournament. That's what he's saying there.
Academy is partnered with the S.A.M.E circuit, and for every circuit event, we'll be offering one-to-one coaching services as prizes.
You may be the next Pipsqueak. You may be the next Pipsqueak.
Imagine.
I am the head TO of Team Air, the owner of the Air series. I'm also the owner of Cones Academy and the project lead on the S.A.M.E Circuit 2021. For those who don't know, we have 11 majors across 2021, one a month, all leading to the finale in December. Today, we're going to be reviewing Phoenix Blue, which was our last major, and we're going to be looking at crews, doubles, and singles with my delightful panelists, which are this week, Jim Morrison, say hi.
Hello.
Rix, say hi.
Guten Morgen, guten Morgen.
Bit German. I still, we're doing this like every week, and I still haven't learned any German either. And my last panelist is R23. Say hi, Alex.
Hello. How are you doing?
Yeah, all good, thank you. So we're going to kick off looking at crews first. I believe we have a delightful 6 crew matches, and we're going to be reviewing them, starting with Wales versus Greece. This was a Pool A match, and many of us panelists kind of saw this as a match to kind of maybe decide who placed towards the latter end of Pool A, a bit of a decider between the Greek side and the Welsh side. Throwing it straight out there, Jim, would you like to give me your thoughts on this matchup?
Well, if we thought it was going to be close, we were sort of sorely mistaken there. Wales showed up, and they showed that Greece does not it's not close at the same level, though. It's not close. Like, well played to Greece, but even without the top players, Wales is still like just the years of experience, players, etc. I think that still helped them out.
Yeah, well, I think we said, because me and Kone, I know we both fancied Greece for this on the predictions, but it didn't even end up close in the end. It was like a 10 stock deficit, and I think we did mention Matt Smith and EUO as like people who could carry a bit, and they both definitely put in like over and above what you'd expect from them. Like EUO got 7 stocks, and Matt Smith took
with only
9.
2 stocks, by the way.
Sorry,
EU only lost 2 stocks and got 7 stocks.
Oh yeah.
Oh Christ almighty!
He could have probably done even more, right? Like he could have, if there'd been another player, he probably could have got 2 or 3 more stocks. Looking at it,
Yeah, I was surprised with how. I know he's good, but I was surprised with Matt Smith's performance in that it exceeded my expectations, especially since he took. Did he only lose 1 stock against Lavos as well? And Lavos being kind of the Greek captain and the better of the Greek side overall, and haven't actually like seen him compete in the Cones Academy League. I think he's in Division 5, and he did particularly well. I think he finished 3rd or 4th in his division in the last season in March. I thought that was a particularly impressive performance by Matt Smith, and helped to pull this into like a quite comfortable victory, like Jim said.
Yeah. What I found interesting was that you guys picked Greece. You still stand by that choice?
Obviously, we don't stand by it now.
Yeah, 100%.
I think it was because we were thinking it would be close at least. I was thinking maybe they could sneak it, but I don't think we really anticipated the skill gap being as big as it was. Like, Wales did the right thing. They put in their best players early.
Okay, so this is basically the Welsh team that we've seen every time. Okay, they've played Scotland and I believe Germany so far. Yeah. So was this the fact that they underperformed in the previous 2 games versus, have we just basically underestimated the Welsh side is what I'm trying to get at here. And that maybe they choked a bit. Like Germany was always going to be a stretch, right? But they clearly did not perform particularly well against Scotland. So is this Wales have been underestimated by us, especially me and Alex here, and that they just performed poorly, especially against Scotland? Or is this just Greece being poorer than we thought?
I think sorry, Rex, you go.
All right, thanks. I think Greece still takes some time, needs some time, to be honest. I think they're still fairly new, and it's not like saying they're bad or something, but they definitely just need 1 or 2 more years of experience to really get on the same level, I think, to really be a threat to other people. And Wales are definitely already there, I would say, in a sense. Still not on the same level, but they are definitely more there than Greece.
Yeah, Jim, what were you going to say?
Do you mean R23? Because I wasn't saying
yeah.
Oh, yeah. It was
I think it might be a combination of the 2. So Germany, I think that's probably as expected. And then I think they probably underperformed against Scotland. And here, I think they did I think they put in a good performance versus a bad side, which is what made it so one-sided at the end of the day. Because Scotland should have been closer than it, because Scotland was an 8 or 9 stock, right? It was pretty bad. And I feel
it was comfortable.
You look at this, and maybe I feel like they should have probably done a bit better in that.
All right. So 2 discussions that this, or narratives that this throws up for me, which is, let's do number 1 first. Do you guys think we might see more from Wales going forward in the rest of the circuit? They still have Belgium to play. They've got Switzerland to play and Spain as well. Spain being probably the lowest seeded of the top 4 in Pool A. So could we expect more from Wales, where I think some of us had kind of wrote Wales off a little bit in this pool? From what you saw, do they have the ability to maybe place higher than, initially last conversation was saying maybe this was the 8th or 9th playoff position in Pool A. So was that a bit harsh? And could we see more from the Welsh team going forward?
I think looking at the other teams, I think they could do all right versus Belgium. Switzerland, I think they'll struggle against, to be honest, because I think Switzerland is probably still an underrated side. I think they're like the base of the top 5 with Swiss players is really good. And then controversially, maybe, I think, we'll obviously get on to Spain later on. But I think a Trifless Spain, Wales could maybe do pretty well against. And especially if they can, I think we discussed last time, Wales don't really have someone to fill that 5th slot. They have like 4, EUO, Matt Smith are both like their two standout players. And they've got 2 other players, Libbers and someone else. Sorry, mine's blanking.
They have Bo, Galapagos, Handley, Rogue, G, and Coral.
I think it's Coral. Coral is definitely decent.
The others haven't really. Galapagos has played, Coral's played. The others haven't turned up yet.
So I think if they can find someone who, I'm not sure when in the circuit they play Spain as well, but if Spain are like they were at this event, I think Wales have a good chance versus Spain. Maybe. Just not like a great chance, but I think it's not like a write-off.
All right. Personally, I think, don't oversell this win. They beat Greece, right? Look at who they're facing. They're facing Belgium, who turned up last time. They came in with a crew. They have Ferreted, Lunary, Ladder, Guacamole, Razor, Ramon. Those are amazing players, all of them in their own right.
Yeah, good point.
Spain, even without Triff, that's Lyax, like top 16 placer at some tournaments. K12, Ancient God, Aksar, Mara beat Amsa once. They can all do so.
Really?
It's amazing. Yeah, really.
Okay.
Mara's second on their PR now. Mara's much better than people realize.
Yeah. So no, I don't actually. So I love the Wales and the Welsh crew, but I give them a small chance against Belgium. But besides that, I think it's really rough.
So my second narrative from this was kind of tagging on to what you've just said there, Jim. This idea that actually maybe let's not get too carried away with this Wales win. So what we're saying on the flip side then is basically that Greece have struggled here. So how would yourselves approach the rest of the circuit crew matches if you were Greece? Like, what is our advice maybe to the Greek side, or how should they go about the rest of the circuit?
All right, go ahead, Riggs.
I would just say, just take the experience. Like, I think like you have like one whole year for like every month a crew battle, and especially such a, like I said already, like not as experienced country should definitely just focus on maybe not winning, but just taking all, like just pushing every set until the, until the end. Like they can just take the experience, and maybe we'll see next year like a better Greece, like a way better Greece than this time.
Yeah, I don't want them to be disheartened. That's, I obviously I'm supporting the Greek team there. As I say, I give them access to Cones Academy. They've got that. They've got a couple of new players who joined their squad as well, who've been given access. They are still getting coaching. Like a big thank you to all those players out there who did and have are providing coaching one-to-one to these players. But yeah, I don't want them to kind of feel like they've lost to Wales and, get too disheartened. And I think, Rix, you're right. It is now just looking at this as how to use these matches as a way to gain experience and not to be disheartened, and just continue to use this as a way to make progress as a country and as a squad.
I agree. It would be basically like, look, they had their the two lowest matches in the pool, right? From now on, the matches are going to get harder and harder and harder for Greece. And you're probably going to lose them, most likely. So just roll with it, enjoy it, enjoy the fact that you're playing crews. I know most of the players are playing crews for the first time, likely.
Yeah.
So it's always a fun experience with crews, and online, always a bit different, but still a really lovely experience as far as I've been able to tell. So just
Okay then, so let's move on to our second crew match to review, which is jumping us over to the big one that took place in Pool B. Pool B is that pool of death, the group of death, having the top seeds England and Sweden. Then we have the likes of Norway, Austria, and then the tier 3 seeds were Finland and Ireland. And then even below that, we've got the likes of Denmark in this pool. This was Finland versus Sweden, tier 1 seed versus tier 3 Swede, tier 3 seed in the Finns. And this was a victory to the Finnish side. And it was quite a comfortable victory in the end, a 9-0. Yes, I am correct. I was just double checking myself. A 9-0 victory to Finland.
Yeah.
What are our thoughts?
I don't think anyone saw this level. Like I don't think a Swedish crew has ever lost this badly at any cruise event. This is like the Sweden's worst ever. Not the quality of the opposition, but like the amount of stocks difference. Like Sweden at air would always be getting near to the end, and even against American crews, they would do pretty well. Solo battle just did Lavingi first did pretty good. 5 stocks is like to be respected, especially given the quality of players he's against. But solo battle did absolutely insanely well. I think he took 12 stocks.
I think it's 13, isn't it?
13, also one from Johnny Fight.
Yeah, he took one from Johnny as well.
Those are incredibly valuable stocks. So
I don't think any player will do better in a crew battle this entire event. Like the quality of stocks taken and the number of stocks taken is just ridiculous here.
Yeah, it's an amazing win for Finland because they now lost to England, and I think this basically locks them into the top 4 already, like bar any weird stuff going on later on. But they have one of their biggest demons out of the way. Like Sweden and England, those were the top seeds. And now Finland overtook Sweden as basically the number 2 in the pool by just this win. So I think Lavingi did really well, starting off with a counter pick on Midi, taking 5 stocks. But then the fact that Solo Battle came in against Humpe and only lost 1 stock, amazing. Then he went up against Pipsqueak. I know Pipsqueak came just off from doubles grands, and I know he also was quite disheartened and tired. I was in the call, quite sad to see. Like he was like, he just lost and was like, all right, I'm off, guys, which is really
it's tough, but it's kind of at a offline major. It happens. Yeah, you'll play doubles. Yeah, if you're a good player, you're going to be playing top 6 doubles into like latter part of a singles bracket.
Yeah,
so I know it's rough though.
But I mean, it's not to say like he played bad or Solo Battle played bad in that sense. It's just Solo Battle played amazing, especially after he beat 4 people, only losing 1 stock to each of them. He faced 4 of them.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It is mad, but I think it was good tactics by the Finnish side as well. Like strong start with Lavingi, and then basically throwing Solo in early on I think they were trying to draw out Pip, weren't they? I think that ultimately
because your assumption is Captain Mayhem, you would assume, okay, Solo can probably get through Humpe and only lose 2 stocks.
Yeah,
and then he'll probably lose to Pip, but he'll get a stock or 2, and then we're looking okay. And then when it goes like this, you can just forget about whatever strategy you were doing because it's fine.
Yeah, they open the party balls and stuff, and the break music.
Do we think there was some poor tactics on the Swedish side? I felt that the Johnny going in last and Absen going in against Solo, I think Johnny should have gone in before Absen.
Definitely agree there. Like I was talking about this in our last conversations, that I just think Johnny could have been like a really good counter pick against Solo Battle. And I was so surprised why they sent an Epsar against him first. Like they should have probably waited with him for like Paju or someone else. I don't know. Just didn't feel right, especially because like, I mean, to be fair, Solo Battle played like on fire. I was watching the set and it was just destruction. It was like not watchable. And I don't know. Like if Johnny Fight would have made the difference, I think at least like one more stock, to be honest. But I mean, just looking also at like the game that they were playing, he lost one stock and Solo Battle lost one stock, so it definitely looked better already.
And if you haven't watched it, like Johnny was going toe to toe. Like it clearly was like Solo had the edge, but it wasn't like super comfortable for Solo Battle. And I think Johnny would have taken at least one more stock if he'd gone in when Abson had at least one, maybe more. And then I think Solo had already done enough work that this was in Finland's favor anyway, but it probably wasn't the right move to make on the Swedish behalf here.
Yeah, I agree. Like, even if Johnny Fight does really well against Solo Battle, then he has to play against Payu. And then if Abson beats Payu, then Abson has to play against Mayhem. It's just too much to ask at that point once Solo Battle's taken that many stocks.
So in the end, I do think it basically all fell apart with Pipsqueak. Like,
yeah,
it was a fine counter pick, Pipsqueak against Solo Battle. It could have been a fine counter pick. It should have been, maybe. But if he loses 4 stocks while only taking 1, that doesn't just like affect him. He felt terrible about it, but the rest of the crew is also like, oh fuck, what do we do? What if your best player on your team just like goes down like that and you have to carry the rest of the team? That also puts a lot of like pressure on you. So I don't know if Abson would have lost all his stocks like that if Pipsqueak didn't go in first.
Yeah, that's a big ask, isn't it? Like to have Pip lose in that style and then put Abson in, who's probably the least experienced of your team, in a pretty critical moment. That obviously was a turning point.
Yeah, I agree with that.
In terms of the Swedish side, we could obviously argue that this maybe wasn't full strength Sweden, but like they've got a handful of Marths. You know, they've got the likes of Red and Ecom that may have been used instead of Meaty. I'm not sure how much that would have changed the outcome at the beginning, maybe somewhat. But they are missing Dady here. Does Dady make a difference? I'm just kind of thinking that the likelihood is we may see this again come, final bracket in December, where you would hope all teams kind of prioritizing having all their best players. So yeah, does Dady make a difference here to this like 9-0 Finnish victory?
I think you could probably put like Dady in first to sort of, and he'd go even with Levingi or maybe beat him. The only worry is Dady versus Solo Battle, just like the matchup. But I think even then, like Samus can sort of just take trades, and it's quite hard for Samus to get, especially if Samus as good as Dady, to get like 4-stocked by Jigs, especially on Samus's counter pick. Like obviously, I feel like he would probably lose, but I don't think he'd only take 1 stock in the process.
But okay, here's my question then to all 3 of you. Having watched this match, does changing a Marth at the beginning for a different Marth and having Dady change a 9-0 victory to Finland in favor of Sweden?
I don't think so.
Yeah,
no way. Like I don't even see the point in switching Meaty. Meaty got 9th at the tournament, right? Like,
no, that's what I'm saying. Like,
it doesn't matter.
It's another Marth, isn't it?
It doesn't matter.
This all comes down to ultimately, if this is replayed in December, this comes down to Pip and Solo Battle again. Like that is literally on those 2, and that's going to be a lot of pressure on Pip in the future if this does play out again. So it could be quite an interesting narrative for us to look at in the future. I think we've said enough for this one. Let's go on to our third. Let's spring back to Pool A. And we're going to be looking at in fact, we're staying with Pool B. I do apologize. We're looking at Denmark versus Norway. So this was Denmark's first outing in the same circuit, playing against Norway. Norway, who had done particularly well in their first 2 matches against the weaker seeds, Portugal and Italy. But, they had done particularly well. So this, to me, was going to be an interesting matchup in terms of seeing, one, where Denmark are sort of at as a crew. And also, like, Norway were leading the pool. Was that just because they were playing against, particularly weaker opponents, or are Norway going to be looking as a threat to top 4? The outcome of this was a victory to the Norwegians, a 5-0 victory, so much closer than their previous 2 matches. Just throwing it straight out there. What do we think of this match?
So actually, I'm pretty impressed of Denmark here. Like especially starting out with Mo, like just taking 6 stocks, 4 of Gabe and 2 of Whittle, and then Voodoo, which I don't even know who this is, to be honest, just takes out Whittle with 1 stock. I think it's really impressive. Then also taking another stock of Ninjago fan, really good. King Funk, on the other hand, had probably like not the best day or something. Didn't work out that well for him. But other than that, I think they definitely had a decent chance of winning this one.
Yeah, I think, in my opinion, like Norway was lucky that Ninjago fan went super hard. They would have lost, maybe. They could have, in that sense. Like if Ninjago fan didn't take, like, what was it, 9 stocks on his own?
Yeah, it was really good. Really impressive.
Crazy, right? Those are like King Funk is one of their strongest players. That's pretty valuable. Like losing only 2 stocks, then another 2 from Eagle, another great player on their team. Yeah, I don't know about that. I feel like it might have even like great performance by Denmark, but I might even say a little bit of a shaky performance by the rest of Norway. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I kind of agree. Denmark did really well. Mo took charge for this, basically taking 6 stocks with DK versus those 2 matchups is incredible.
Mm-hmm.
The way he played. Voodoo, I think, as probably the weaker player on the crew, actually did pretty well. Like he took 3 stocks, which is against players who are arguably a lot, or at least a lot better known than he is.
And he played amazing. I actually watched it, and he was playing crazy. Like people were, who is this Sheik? Who is this Sheik? This Sheik is great. So it was really nice.
Yeah, I think I can't remember exactly, but I know King Funk definitely had chances to close it out versus Ninjago, and he choked it a bit. I'm not sure if Voodoo had the same, and he's probably a bit annoyed at himself because if those couple of chances had gone his way, then you'd have Eagle versus Villani instead, which is a lot more sort of more his pace maybe, and you have the Peach versus Villani. Denmark definitely could have taken it, given a couple of little changes here and there.
But Norway did have 1 secret weapon left.
Niklas or no?
Yeah, true.
So where would they like? I don't see him getting messed up by any of those. So I think like they could have barely lost it. But even if Ninjago fan just only took 4 stocks instead of the 9, Niklas would probably still have closed it out. Like the matchups are just so nice for young Link. King Funk would be his worst matchup, I think. But against Donkey Kong, against Doc, and against Peach, I think young Link does just fine. Like I would want to counter pick.
Yeah, and they still, I don't know if Sphere was available, but even if it wasn't Nicholas, they still had. Yeah. So I think it looks good on paper. And yes, I think King Funk might be kicking himself because it was a weak performance at a very important part in the crew match. But I think you've got 2 players that would have been very difficult for Denmark to actually have dealt with at the end there, especially since Denmark clearly didn't have Tomba available either. I don't know what state Tomba is in anyway, but you know, historically one of their better players in Denmark alongside Eagle. But yeah, I think this again, it looks quite nice on paper, but yeah, maybe if one of those 2 players, Niklas as Verd, actually got into action, it might not look so cute.
Yeah, I agree. I think actually, like looking at it, Norway sent out like 3 of their like least strong players. So in that sense, like they didn't start with Sverre or Nintendo or like those are heavy hitters or Niklas. Like those didn't even play. So I'm not that worried about the whole Norway situation. Like I think they can still like. Who did they have? England, Sweden coming up, Finland.
I think they'll fancy their chances versus Sweden. Like I think Norway Sweden will be a really good match.
I still don't know how good Norway is, though. I don't know if that sounds awful. Like I still don't actually, because it's such a weird squad. Like
we haven't had any crew matches where we've seen 5 of their players. Like the 2 before, at least we got to see 4 of their players play this time, as opposed to the other ones.
So that's actually next month, Norway against Sweden.
Oh my god!
Oh, you got that before me. I was just looking it up as well, Jim. But yeah,
they're coming up. That's a hot matchup.
Yeah, definitely.
Especially given like Norway is a little bit of the underdog, but Sweden's basically abysmal performance this month, combined with Norway's pretty strong performance the past 3 months. I would I don't know who I'm gonna bet next time.
Yeah, it's a tricky one.
I have no idea. I look forward to our preview show on that. Denmark, before we kind of move on, that was the first time I saw the Danish side, and we kind of started this like analysis of this match, you know, seeing that Denmark did pretty well, and then we've kind of softened on that a little bit. They play Ireland next. Where are we standing with the Danish in terms of like, are they more of a threat in this pool than we thought?
I think so. I think they could do pretty well versus basically every crew except for Finland, England, and Sweden. I think
so they can't make top 4 is what we're saying.
I don't think so, but maybe if they could maybe squeak an upset out of one of them. I think they could do good versus Ireland. Sorry, Jim, you're giving me a face there. What's your take on that?
No, I agree.
You give me a face.
I agreed with basically what you said. I was like, do I agree? And then I was like, yeah, I do agree. I think against Ireland, they have a pretty good shot, actually. With like, if they take out Mint Moxie, bam, you might just...
Yeah, we keep saying this about Ireland, though, don't we? We keep saying, like, you know, Ireland only have 2 players.
Yeah, we do.
And then they've done really well so far. You know, took Sweden down to the last 2 stocks, and, you know, Luan is playing particularly well. All right, let's move on to our next one. So we're halfway here. Let's jump into number 4, and we're going to be looking at Netherlands versus... Who the Dutchies playing again? Switzerland, that's it, Switzerland. I literally went mind blank there. Yeah, Netherlands against Switzerland. Back to Pool A then. So this was the Dutchies, top seed, one of the top 2 seeds in Pool A, playing against Switzerland, who I believe are tier 4, actually, have looked particularly good, basically, so far in the crew circuit. Jim, crew captain, you throw Nebby in. So Nebby's been substituted for this major, taking your place. Mm-hmm. You throw him in straight away. Thoughts behind that, reasoning behind that, and how do you think it went?
Yeah, I don't regret my choice at all. First of all, he took 6 stocks. That's nice. Well done. People saw his amazing Mewtwo. Did you see the match?
Yes, I watched them all. Yeah,
dude, that fucking Mewtwo is crazy. So I already am happy with putting him in for that part. But then he put this out against Ravio, who is pretty good player, and then Joy Boy, also a matchup that you wouldn't expect Mewtwo to do well in, but he definitely did.
Mewtwo Samus, like, it just sounds horrible. Like,
Nebby actually has like this matchup chart, and it's basically like, I agree with everything except it's always 10% Mewtwo favorite. He puts everything too high for Mewtwo. He's like, no, Mewtwo Fox is even, and I'm like,
no,
that cannot be right. But he's too smart, so he must be right. He's too smart. No, why did we start with Nebby? Because we wanted him to play. That's the biggest reason we wanted him to play. And there's really nothing that could have gone too bad. And he was super confident. And I think that's the best reason to start. Like, you're super confident, go for it.
Yeah, I think if you're a star, you have to have that confidence. Like, it goes poorly from there. Like, you saw like Scotland against Netherlands, where it didn't go well for Shifting Shadows, and I think that's hard for your team morale and confidence going forward. So yeah, this obviously went well for Nebby. And then I kind of missed this, but this was a 5-0 victory for the Netherlands, which I believe is the same amount for France over Switzerland. So Switzerland are doing well, but kind of like just not quite there. So what's going wrong?
Yeah, looking at everyone else, apart from Nebby, I think everyone else on the Dutch crew just did fine. Like, they just took the stocks they needed to take. No one really went off.
Skill Bro.
I think Skill Bro did fine.
Skill Bro like punched above his weight by taking 3 stocks from Jarl Ryden. That's the other like crucial performance here, because he could have definitely done a lot worse there.
And Yapi against Nero, I wouldn't that's not too easy. Yapi was quite scared actually of Nero because he knows he's a really fast fox. I think Nero actually beat Yapi once. So
yeah, Nero's definitely good.
Yeah, I think there was some weird stuff going on with the Yoshi's counterpick there, but I think those players did well. I don't think Fountainelle particularly outperformed. I don't think
just did fine. Like took 5 stocks, which is again more exactly. He got value for his play at least.
So, but the thing is, no one on the Swiss crew outperformed.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's what needs to happen. They need to have players who outperform what they're doing. So we're talking about who's the Dutch players outperforming. Well, they should be outperforming because they're the underdog, actually.
I'm going to take a bit of a take on what I've seen from Switzerland so far, which is Jar has not yet performed particularly well.
Yeah, he hasn't really like taken the rate. Like we had England in the first frenzy in the first week, who like went crazy against Finland. We've had obviously like solo battle against Sweden this month, who just like took the reins a bit. And I don't think Jar's been able to do that. I'm not sure if it's just like a Luigi thing or just people, or whether people are counter picking him well. Like I don't know. So obviously here, Skullbro he was picked into by Jar Ryden. Maybe they want to be putting Jar in earlier to like, because I think maybe you could put Jar versus Fountain L, and maybe
we've seen him go in earlier though as well, haven't we? Like in previous, Jar has gone in like second. It's just I think if Switzerland are going to close that gap, like Jim's right, like someone has to perform. They're just performing well, but there's no one doing above that as expected. Like, and they need that, and they needed the Jar to do it, or someone else in that Swiss team needs to step up, because they've got, they've played Netherlands now, they've played France, so they've got Germany and Spain, and Spain's obviously the one they need to be aiming for. To potentially qualify. Rix, what's your thoughts on the Swiss outfit? Why aren't they quite doing it?
I was just looking at like the last two picks, like Jaryden and Nero, and I suppose Nero was probably not confident in going in against Skybro, I guess, because other than that, I can't really see why they sent in Jaryden. Like, just out of my own experience, like this matchup is usually like really trade heavy, so it's kind of like usually so that people lose stocks, and having your best player lose stocks against Skybro, who's not the best player from the other team, is kind of like really not that great in the crew battle. So I really think they should have sent in Nero first, just against Skybro, just to take some stocks at least, and then maybe Jaryden can go crazy or something against Yappy, who knows, and has like a better chance, even though the matchup is still like bad. But I think Jaryden versus Yappy could have been a better pick in my opinion.
Versus a fast follower is Luigi likely to just hit them with 4 really big combos, and even though it is Yappy, so obviously he could equally do the same to Yar. But I definitely get where you're coming from, where it's just Skullbro has that almost guarantee of getting 2, maybe 3 stocks, just because
I know it's in Luigi's favor, but it is like
it's a slog.
It's not going to be like
what Rick says. It's funny because in bracket they actually played, and Jaryden 3-0'd him, like a 1-2 stock and 1-1 stock, I think. Like it was all quite just trade heavy, but always in Jar's favor just a little bit. So you're right, the counter pick might not have been the smartest one actually, if you need Jar to explode on people.
Yeah, and I think really that's what we need to see from Switzerland if they're going to make run at that top 4. And saying that, at Regen, which is the next major at the end of this month, it is Spain against Switzerland. So this is where, for the Swiss, if they're going to get out, they need to be going in heavy against Spain, especially we need to see maybe Jar being used a bit more strategically or going off a little bit more.
Spain would be the crew to do it against. If there's no Triff, then there are a lot of foxes on that Spain crew, and Jar eats foxes for combo videos. So
if they are Triffless, that's going to be an interesting one for when we preview, because I think that's going to be an interesting debate to have. Let's move on to our second last crew match to review before we go into discussing our crew's MVP. And we're looking at Portugal versus England. This was a victory for the English side against Portugal, the kind of lowest seed in Pool B, England being one of the top 2 seeds in this pool. This was 11-0 victory for England. Alex, you're on the English crew. Thoughts here?
So in terms of, I think this is about what you'd expect. Maybe we were saying that England needs to try and get their stock difference up a bit here. And
Alex, why would you do that as a tactic? Why is that?
Because the more stocks you take without losing, the higher you will be ranked. And in the group of death, every stock counts. So the plan was basically just to put in Frenzy and Prof first, regardless of who Portugal put out, because just this, even regardless of matchup, the skill gap is so big there. No offense to Portugal, but these are two players that are easily top 10 in Europe. And Frenzy and Prof just took the stocks they needed to take.
Yeah, I don't even think there's too much to say about this. Besides, like, I'm really proud of England to put in their two top players. I'm proud that they did that because last times they did not, and I'm proud they finally managed to get themselves together, push Frenzy and Prof to go in first.
Yeah, I was harassing them about it. Yeah, paid off. I think the first match for Frenzy Rory X, I think that was all Rory X was doing really well. I know it shows a 2-stock there, but he definitely had chances to steal that game away. And if he'd have upset Frenzy, it could have been a very different crew battle, or at least a lot closer. But then Frenzy managed to take 4 stocks from Pudding after that, and then it's over, isn't it? But if Rory X had done like a smidge better, could have been an interesting one.
Yeah.
Gotta say that Apollo did pretty well by taking 2 stocks off Prof, to be honest. Like, I didn't expect that.
Yeah, 1 stock from Frenzy and 2 stocks from Prof.
That's actually quite valuable.
In any other crew battle, you'd be pretty happy with that, wouldn't you? Like, if those are the 3 stocks you take, that's pretty good.
It is kind of like looking at the Portuguese side so far, like Rorix, Apollo, and Raiden have done well in the crew matches, and it just feels like their next 2 players just aren't quite on the same standard, and that's where they're kind of losing 3 or 4 stocks quite like comfortably, where those players are maybe only taking 1. And I think that's just what's getting them unstuck a little bit. Like, Rorix did look all right against Frenzy. Apollo obviously did particularly well here. And we know Raiden can do good work. So I just feel like Portugal may be missing just like a full 5 here at times, and be interested to see where they develop as we go on, hopefully to a future circuit in 2022. Should we rock on to our last crew match?
Yeah. I don't think there's too much to say about
that. You can do that.
Yeah, let's move on and have a little look at our last one, which was Spain versus Germany. So this is Pool A, Tier 1 top seed, Germany versus second seed here, Tier 2 seed in Spain. This was a Trifless Spain. So victory here to the German side, which was, let me have a little look, 30-0. I actually just read that twice there. I was a bit surprised. Go on, Rix, you're grinning away there.
Those are Norway numbers.
Yeah.
So to be honest, it kind of felt like the England versus Portugal crew battle overall. And to be fair, okay, I don't want to say that, but we didn't take this seriously at all. Like, I was playing against Mara, and my crew tried to shit talk me in the voice chat. They were trying to make me laugh. Like, when you look at the what, I was just laughing my ass off. I couldn't concentrate, and we still, like, I don't know. Like, Kinzo just went off. Like, if you guys have seen this crew battle, Kinzo just did some amazing, crazy things. He just, like, destroyed K12 so much. I didn't expect it at all. He just went crazy on everyone, especially like on Germany, the Sheik at the end. Yeah. Like, I don't know. It was just destruction, at least from Kinzo's side. I think I just played pretty well. Not too good, but it worked out.
This was rough. That's literally my analysis of this. This was rough to watch. And I had notably talked about how if they had Triff and Triff would start, this might have gone Spain's way. But even with Triff,
no way.
This.
Yeah, there's no way Triff could have saved this.
No.
So, did you guys know Triff was playing? Like, how early beforehand did you know, or that he was not playing?
Did we talk about this?
We talked about it in the preview show, Jim.
We already knew it. We already knew he wasn't playing.
I mean, Likes was telling us this, and I was like, "Come on, guys, we still got to show up, everyone, just in case he's there."
Yeah, it's a trick.
Yeah, like everyone. Like, most of us didn't take it too seriously, and I was like, come on, we still need at least 5 people. And like, I think Nikki, I'm not sure if Nikki was there, but 6 played CSGO, no time for him. And we had like, where else did we have? I think we had like 4 till 2. We had like definitely good players there, so it was enough, but still we kind of had to motivate them to even do that, you know?
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, sorry, I don't really have too much to say about this one. I think we knew Spain weren't going to be great going into it anyway because Triff wasn't there, but I think even then this is still worse than we expected. like 13 stocks is bad for a crew that's trying to get in, that you'd expect to get into the top 4. I know we said this before as well, but I think they are lucky to be in Group A and not in Group B, because I think
I think this is kind of like you're right, Alex. This is showing kind of how weak on average Pool A is compared to Pool B. I think you've got like 6 teams in Pool B, maybe 7 that could make qualification awkward for top 4 for those 7 countries. Then you look at like Pool A, and it's just basically Germany, France, Netherlands are going to qualify, and then it's just quite weak, isn't it? Like in comparison, I'm not like saying completely weak, but there's a drop after the top 3 anyway. Yeah,
shouldn't we have put Germany in the other pool as well, like because they don't have competition here?
well, to be fair, Germany haven't played Netherlands or France yet.
Yeah,
that's true. It's
gonna be interesting.
Yeah, to see where because Germany, they played Wales, and then they had a bye, and then they've just played Spain. So they've still got 2 of their harder matchups, and Switzerland, and I still think Switzerland have an upset in them still. They've gone close now against Netherlands, close enough against Netherlands and France. So I think the Swiss team could potentially be a monkey wrench, to someone anyway. Should we have a look at our MVP? So we've got 3 suggestions for this week.
Yeah, let's do it.
Go on then, Jim. Start us off then. Give us the 3.
All right. First off is Ninjago fan for his performance in the Norway crew battle. We went over it already, but like Norway performed pretty meh, except for Ninjago fan, who took like 9 stocks out of the crew from Denmark, taking pretty valuable stocks as well with King Funk and Eagle, some of their best players. So I think that's a reasonable standout performance, which is why I would nominate him. The second player I would nominate is Nebby, who didn't have a particularly outstanding performance, like taking too many names or something, but it's just because I have a Dutch bias.
Well, I know that it was between Nebby and Kinso because of Kinso's performance against Spain, but I think we kind of give it to Nebby because it's Mewtwo.
Yeah, it's cool. He just showed the world like the Mewtwo on the big stage can do crazy work. People saw it for the first time, and I think he brought a lot of people a lot of joy that their low tier might be able to rise up someday to take the crown.
Yeah. And then the last one, I don't think we even need to go through it. It's Solo Battle. The way that he basically cemented that victory against Sweden, taking the 4 stock against Pip, just a brilliant performance overall. And I think we can go through voting now. Hands up if anyone is going to go give it to Ninjago fan. Hands up for Nebby. Oh, Jim hasn't voted for him. Hands up for Solo Battle. Yeah, I think this is pretty clear that our MVP of this month of the major Phoenix Blue is Solo Battle. Let's give a little round of applause.
Yeah, a crazy performance by Solo Battle. Single-handedly put Finland on the map for first place.
Yeah, hell yeah.
It's probably like I said, it's probably one of like the best European crews performances from a single player ever. Like,
I was literally going to say the same thing. Like, I'll be surprised if that is topped basically in this entire circuit. It was a hell of a performance. Before we move on and having a look at doubles and singles, we'll just have a quick kind of more of a shorter look at the top 8 brackets for both doubles and singles. I would just like to talk about one of the partners for the same circuit, which happens to be my very own Kones Academy. Oh yeah. So if you have not heard of it yet, www.patreon.com/Kones Academy, go have a look at it. Basically, we have something like 160 students now, 20 odd coaches. We've got a new coach coming on, an American coach, a Marth player. Will be starting with us very soon. Go have a look at the Patreon. We have coaching sessions starting around €10 a month and upwards. There is an immense amount of viability and range of coaches in terms of the characters that they can support you with. And then other than that, for €5 a month, you can become a content consumer, which allows you to watch all lessons live within the Discord, which again, there's 160 plus of them a month, which is insane amount of content to consume. And on top of that, you can access our VOD library of literally like well over 200 videos now, one-to-one coaching sessions. They're awesome. Check it out if you want to get better. We have here, Rix is actually one of our coaches. Rix, anything to say about the academy?
Just join it, guys. You will learn so much.
There you go. He obviously just wants to get more students.
Yeah, I only have 2 spots left, guys. Come on, get it.
Yeah. Out of how many? Is that 18 now?
I have 18 right now, yes.
Yeah.
You play like one of the most competitive. Who else is like really difficult? Ryo Beat's really difficult to get right. He's Nicky as well.
Yeah.
The Germans got a good reputation.
Yeah, it's also the fact that they actually kind of advertise themselves on social media, which
absolutely
helps.
The reason.
Yeah, but I think it's word of mouth as well. Like Rick, so you kind of started off slower, then you just kind of gone like that, and I think it's performance in the majors coupled with the fact that people just talking about how good he is as a coach, which he is. Your Zlux beat me in the division playoff as well. Yeah.
Oh shit! Let's go.
I know he's got better, and he bloody beat me, and I didn't get promoted to the next division. I blame you, Rix, for that. Stop being a good coach. Right, let's move on and look at doubles then. Look at which, by the way, doubles was in their second majors outing. We did not have a doubles event for Valhalla Online. Started at the upset. Phoenix Blue was the second major for doubles. Doubles will be at everyone going forward, and there is a finale for doubles in December with top 8 in the ranking qualifying to the finale, which, by the way, you can check out on, I always kind of forget this. Is it smashranking.eu?
It's
smashcircuit.eu.
Same circuit.
Bloody hell, man. I told you I've done a lot of driving this week. Samecircuit.eu. If you haven't looked at it, go there. It's the Same Circuit's website. All the rankings for singles, crews, and doubles are on there. So top 8 qualify, and the prize for doubles, if you are unaware, is that my lovely Team Air will be flying out and providing accommodation to Air 6 in 2022, as well as entry to the event as well. So there is a prize on the line. And let's have a look at our top 8 bracket.
There are 2 teams that I wanted to highlight who did not make top 8 bracket.
Okay.
Quite interesting. So remember last time we had Noxa and Pixel, who were quite the upset. So they actually didn't do too well. They went 1-2 in the bracket. But if you see who they lost to Blaze and Phil 3-2, which is nice. Like, those are amazing players who made the top 8. And in losers, they beat Fortilt and Keze.
What?
Yeah, and they lost 3-1 to Knuckles, 3-0 to Knuckles and Amsab.
That's a very rough bracket.
That is rough.
That's a horrible bracket.
Where were they seeded?
I don't know.
I think they were seeded okay, but Knuckles and Amsab got upset in winners. Well, not upset, but there was a bit of a bracket. There's this bit of the bracket where you have Knuckles and Amsab versus Kellner and Timmy very early. I guess Kellner and Timmy lost to someone in pools.
I think the problem was also that Blaze and Phil lost in pools, so they got second. That's why they had to play so early. But they probably only lost to beat Nicky and Pipsky.
Yeah. So that's the first team that I wanted to highlight. Last time we were impressed with them. This week, I think they showed that it wasn't particularly a fluke. They are like a pretty competitive team at their level.
The second team's not going to be you and McKenzie, is it?
Oh, yeah.
The second team's not you and McKenzie, is it?
No, we're in top 8. We're going to talk about that.
Oh, darn it.
No, I wanted to highlight Frenzy and Mint, who didn't make top 8. Do we have any thoughts on that? Like, what did you expect more from Frenzy and Mint?
Yeah, but looking at the bracket, I'm not surprised with who they lost to, and not to make excuses for people, but I know Mint is pretty new to the box, as you can see by his singles performance as well, which was a lot worse than usual. I would hope that they'd do a bit better at other events, but I don't think they'd be too upset with the teams they lost to. They lost to Rix and Kinzo
and Knuckles and Amsa,
which is a tricky bracket to get 9th to.
Yeah.
I think I want to mention, I was talking about Nebby and Yappy beforehand because we were surprised that Yappy abandoned
skills.
because they did really well last event. And then Yappy and Nebby. So Nebby was playing Mewtwo. I didn't see any of them play. Is that who he plays?
Yeah, they almost beat me and Mackenzie 3-0, but thankfully Mackenzie carried me.
And then they got 9th, which is a very good placing for a team with Mewtwo in it. I know Nebby's amazing, but it's still Mewtwo in team, so I don't rate at all, but rate them slightly higher now.
Before we go any further, because we've got you here, Alex, we obviously saw a DQ from yourselves after your very strong performance at the upset. DQing against Nikki and Pip. What kind of happened there?
We had like really weird connection things with Six and Ice, where it only worked when we used a VPN for some reason, like something to do with the routing. But when we all did a VPN to Netherlands, then it worked. And then that wouldn't work again. And that took us quite a while to fix. But then when it worked, it was really good. And then Nikki and Pip Squeak, we tried that and it didn't work. And we were just like, oh, well, we spent so long messing around with Six and Ice that we just can't be bothered to do it again. So just DQ'd there. Robbie, the VA just moved place, so I think he's still working out the internet at his new house.
Okay. Well, fingers crossed it goes better next month, because it made me very sad to see you DQ out the event.
Yeah, to be honest, I think we lost to Nikki and Pipsqueak last time pretty badly. We probably would have lost to them again, so not too upset.
Right. More confidence going forward, Alex. Right, let's look at the top 8 bracket then. Unless we've got anything else, guys, that we want to kind of throw out there before we look at it. Nope, no. Let's look at top 8 then. All right, let's go for it. Thoughts?
I said Ice and Six would do good before the event. I didn't expect them to win the whole thing. I thought they would definitely do good. They were really, really fun to watch. I love watching Fox Link. Six's Link in teams is really good to watch. I think he plays amazingly well. And
3-0 against Nikki and Pip and Grands.
That's crazy.
I know it was a reset. But yeah.
I think he really should be a bit of an inspiration to people who want to pick up teams but don't think they've got the character for it. I think any character.
You look at Six and Nebby, Mewtwo and Link. Yeah.
If you put in the time and you can do good with any character in teams, probably.
Yeah.
I think I totally agree with you there. And having played with Six and Ice also before the event, the week before, I can just agree that Six is just such a great teammate. I mean, Ice, obviously, everyone knows Ice is just really, really good at teams. But Six also, you can just see that these guys are really good friends. They have such a great synergy and just carry it over. I mean, I think I also said last time that Ice and Six are probably gonna win this, and you see, it happened.
Yeah, but you went 3-2. That wasn't that's close.
Yeah, I mean, it was last.
You should just be giving up mentally, giving them the edge. Maybe if you hadn't given them the edge there, George, that when you played them, it might have been 3-2 to you.
Maybe, yeah, you're right.
Consciously already given them the win. It can't be helpful.
It was kind of like new school versus old school. And we just crumbled in the end.
So I wanted to actually also shout out Nick and Pipsqueak, who almost repeated the whole losers.
Yeah.
They went to losers even earlier this month, right?
Yeah, they did it even earlier. They went for the big run.
They lost very early on to Blaze and PHL, who we said were a good team.
The Mango run. But they couldn't quite close it out. They took the first set, and I think they might have just run out of steam, playing for so long in losers, maybe.
Yeah.
Which is definitely possible.
I mean, they destroyed us. So, they were definitely full of steam when they were playing against us.
Could we, just because obviously we're mentioning Nikki and Pip there, and the fact that they fell into losers a bit earlier, I think it is important that we actually tip our hats at Blaze and Phil.
Mm-hmm.
These are two players who have been super inactive in terms of events in Germany, both offline and online, before the major circuit started for doubles at the upset. And they put Nikki and Pip, beat them 3-2, put them into losers, and have done well in both events so far. And it just shows you like we were saying about Pixel and Noxa, just how some players can just be dub specialists. And I just love watching them play as well. You can just see that they like Six and Ice, that they are like they have that like clear synergy as a team.
Yeah, there's like a lot of trust between them too.
Yeah.
They're both like
They're roommates.
There you go.
They live together, right? So it's good that they have that synergy. Speaking of loser run,
imagine just like sitting there playing as well. I love that. Like, yeah, love it. Go on, Alex.
Knuckles and Amsa dropped down pretty early this month, but again managed to get 4th after a really good losers run, beating a lot of good teams. They beat Noxapixel, King Funk Mo, Frenzy Min, Makenshi, and Kellner and Timmy, who beat them in winners. So that is a really, really good run to get 4th.
Yeah, I think they'll probably still be kicking themselves a little bit because they're obviously aiming, to win all day. They're aiming to win the circuit. Like talking to, Knuckles was very, very passionate about doubles, and it's still a great result. But I wouldn't be surprised if we see a better result from them at some point in one of these events, at least. Other than that, any other thoughts? Like maybe we might mention Jim and Makenshi.
I'm assuming it's your first time teaming, right?
Yeah, it was like the day before. I noticed I'd never signed up. I never contacted my teammate normally, Casper V. He didn't sign up, and the entries were closed. And then, like when we were doing, I think the double show, Makenshi was mentioned like not having a teammate, and I was like, fuck. Yeah, and I was like, fuck, I just need a teammate. I messaged Makenshi, and he was like, yeah, sure, yes, we'll build a team. And then was
that a Makenshi actor?
Yeah. Well, I didn't. Have you ever imposed that? Dude, he talks like that.
Yeah,
that's true. I just love you did it.
No, it was fun. I spent the whole day in voice with Makenshi. He's a lovely guy.
Yes, I love him.
He's amazing at teams as well. He carried my ass. I died so many times, and he just clutched it out.
Yeah.
Is this something we might see? I know you and Casper like a long-term team. Is it we likely to see a Makenshi Jim going forward? Is it you're going to dump Casper? Or are we going to see you back with Casper?
No, I mean I'm not Casper's baby daddy. Like I'm not going to message him every time. Like, hey, you sign up. Like if you don't sign up, I don't. Like, okay, then dude, then you don't want to play. But I'm not really here to have a static teammate. Like I just want to play teams for fun. And with Makenshi it was fun. With Casper it's going to be fun. And I'll find whoever I find.
Other teams in top 8, Keller and Timmy obviously did really well. Rix and Kinzer did really well, but I wanted to shout out Mahi and Charlon. I think they kind of underperformed last time and only got 17th.
Yeah,
and they beat some good established teams on their way to top 8 this time. So I think they could be a good pick for future events.
Yeah.
I have a question. Is Mai playing on box right now?
I don't
know.
Because
Yes, he was
like
practicing on box, but I don't know if he's playing box in tournament. We should check that when we have Maya next as a panelist.
Like I'm pretty sure he did, to be honest, because when we played against him, he definitely played a little bit sloppy, like when Kinzo and me played against them. So I was kind of like, okay, that's probably not their full power or something. So we can definitely expect more from them in the future when Mai gets the box down, I guess, in a few months.
Yeah. I was just kind of having a quick look through the bracket in case there was anyone else we had to mention. But yeah, they beat Randomness and Johnny, Payu and Mayhem, and then came up against Nikki and Pip. So yeah, I think that's kind of where I'd expect Maya and Shalon to be at this point, especially if Maya is playing on the box. My general take away from like this event and the last event for doubles is really interesting, like super interesting in terms of like who is going to make top 8. We have a lot of teams around that top 8 level, and it just makes it really interesting. And I'm dead excited to see like where we're at come region as well at the end of the month.
I think a lot more so than singles. You can look at someone. Yeah. You can look at a team getting like 17th, and then you look at the teams they lost to, and you're like, oh well, that's not even that bad. Like if you have like Pipsqueak and Nikki or Knuckles Amsa dropping down on you because they got upset, that doesn't really happen in singles as much, I don't think. So I think it's just interesting from that point of view, just the way the upsets play out.
Yeah, and I just think it's going to be interesting seeing the storylines that develop and like the kind of match history that develops between these teams going forward. Singles, let's jump to that then. Before we look at top 8 bracket, is there anyone outside of top 8 bracket that we want to mention that did particularly well, or anyone that maybe failed to live up to our expectations before we jump to the top 8 bracket itself?
There's one person who I want to shout out, like just because he had the worst day. It's Mr. Spino, who
my god!
Who was in the most first pool ever. He was in pool 28, and he got second in the pool, made pretty sick upsets. But due to some Smash GG shenanigans, like his results got lost, and he wasn't even placed in amateurs. He was just like gone.
I don't even get how it happened.
Because originally it put him in the bracket versus Aki, Luigi, and they did stage striking, and I think they might have even played game 1, and then it like banished him.
Yeah, and the only way to recover him was like reset the whole singles bracket, which was also like not an option. We were like 3 rounds in, so like we had to let Spino go. I apologize once more.
It was very. I think it was very kind of him for him to not kick up more of a stick.
I agree. I think he took it very well and was a gentleman about it. But Smash GG, now that you've been acquired by Microsoft for some time now, can we have a European staff member at least? Like I think asking for one itself sounds a bit mad. Like you should have more than one. But when you've got events taking place in Europe and we can't get through to Smash GG to get like any help, it's a bit shit. So
it's not even like it was late in the day. It's not even like it was like early in the morning either. Like over there, like surely there would be someone awake in America who could.
But come on, you at this point, like this isn't like Smash GG is not new. Yeah, it's embedded in the community. There's clearly European events going on, like both offline and online. They should have at least one person, contactable at all times. It's pretty poor. Any other mentions then before we look at top 8?
Skullbro, he did amazingly. 9th place as Dr. Mario. He got some really, really good wins on the way there. Charlon, Timmy, and losers. I'm not sure who he beat in winners. Sorry.
He double eliminated Levingi.
That's ridiculously good.
Yeah.
What? Holy shit.
What did he beat him in?
Skullbro has done really well at all events so far.
He's killing it.
Yeah.
He's definitely
getting better and better.
Definitely proving that he's not like a one event wonder, right? Like if you're doing this at multiple events with Doc, like you're pushing up there towards like top 20 in Europe possibly. It's really, really good to see. Dronin, I think, is a player not a lot of people have heard of. I don't know him that well, to be honest. I think, does anyone else know him better? But he got top 15. So
yeah, so I can definitely tell a few things about him. So as far as I know, he was playing the whole last year on keyboard. That's why he wasn't like really performing or something. But before that, he was always like a top 10 contender of Germany. But he never really attended events. And I think the last German event that was taking place, it was like the GMC finals. If I remember correctly, I think he beat me there too. So, and I think he also beat Kellner too, and he took Nikki to game 5. So you can see like this guy is just crazy good.
Yeah.
You should never estimate. And by the way, he was also competing at the Livo event, I think it was, where he went to game 5 with Prof and game 5 with Solo Battle, like a week ago or something. So you can definitely see he's someone who we shouldn't count out for the next events. So he's definitely crazy as fuck.
Yeah.
So why a lot of people, and I didn't want to say this without looking it up, and I was pretty sure I was right because I'm pretty knowledgeable about the EU scene. So like Dronin's just one of these like, he's just like, I know we hate, like, I know it's like a trope in our community, right? Like the hidden boss phrase, right? But he is literally that in Germany. Like I've just gone back on the German power rankings, and he's literally not on them.
Yeah.
Like he's just not on them. I'm in July 2017 now, and he's not appeared on any of them.
He never goes outside of his outside of his region. He's just always in his region. That's about it. I think he never went to an international major or something, as far as I know.
Yeah, he's literally not ranked, that's what I mean. Like he is literally, when we use the phrase hidden boss, it is like completely appropriate for him.
Yeah.
And yeah, his placement was awesome. Any others we'd like to mention before we do look at top 8?
Do we want to do upsets, like people who didn't get as far as?
Yeah, a little bit of both. Those who did particularly well, those who did not do as well as we'd expect.
I know I mentioned during doubles review, Mint, obviously pretty new to the box, but he got 33rd, which is a weak placement for someone as good as Mint. I'm hoping that he picks it up for the next few events. Who else? I'm just having a little flick down the bracket here. Sorry.
I have one person who did well, like who has done well twice now. His name is NVZ, Dutch Yoshi.
Oh my god!
Yeah, I noticed that.
Two times in a row, he made top 48 as the lowest seed. Like this time, he was seeded like 120th. Made top 48 again. So,
I played him, and it was very, very difficult. He's
dude. Yeah, you did.
Yeah,
he was very hard to play against. It's cool seeing these mid tiers, several mid tiers from Holland bursting out. Which
it's almost embarrassing at this point.
How many? Embarrassing in what way?
Yeah, we used to pride ourselves on being like a Spacey and Marth country, etc.
Yeah, look at us now. Mewtwo, a Yoshi, a dog.
Mewtwo's Yoshi's dog.
Nice.
Wait a minute. Rix, you didn't mention this. Jordan beat you as well, 3-1.
Yeah, you fucked me up.
You were very quiet there, weren't you?
That's why I was like, saying he's good.
Yeah, he beat Charlon, by the way. I'm just going to jump back on bandwagon here. He beat Charlon 2-1 and then beat Rix 3-1. Not bad at all, Jordan. Not bad.
He took a game of Kinzo too. So
yeah.
I think it's also
damn impressive.
Yeah.
Meaty, maybe.
Meaty, he got top 16.
And quite a well done job. He beat Timmy to get there. He took a game of Frenzy after that, and then he beat Max.
He choked so hard with Slavingi. I was watching that set, and he had like a 2-stock lead in the end on Yoshi's, and he just he couldn't function anymore. It was just over. It was so sad to watch,
especially because Prof DQ'd. That was a match to get into top 8 as well. Maybe that was part of the pressure. Who else? Red Blaze getting 17th, hasn't competed in a while.
Yeah, it's nice to see that. Like, Red's so good, and I actually play him, like kind of now and again through friendlies in the academy because he's one of our, best coaches. He's brilliant. He's so fucking good. Like,
I wouldn't want to play him as Peach. Jesus.
It's disgusting. Have you ever seen a 17-page document on how to edge guard Peach as Marth?
Yeah, it's crazy.
That is Jim. It's literally just one document on how to edge guard Peach. It's not the Marth Peach matchup. It's just how to edge guard.
Just bearing from ledge or whatever it is.
And it is horrible as Peach going off the edge against him. It was great to see him competing, and I really hope that he continues doing it.
Moving down the list a bit, Nebby getting top 32 with Mewtwo is pretty good. Obviously, he's an incredible player, but that's a solid first placement back. And then just wanted to shout out one of my friends and Rix's pupil, hooray for Jay for getting 33rd. Probably he was probably seeded really low as well, kind of like NVZ, and did pretty well to get that placing. So
yeah, he's looking good in there. He's got promoted in his division, the academy as well. He's looking like he's progress. Yeah, well done, Mix. Can we mention Max as well? I know like Max is now a known in the EU scene, but he lost 3-2 against Meaty, beat Nebby 3-0, like beat Nintendo before that 3-2. Like Max is a serious EU competitor now.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah, he's pushing on.
Yeah, he's definitely pushing. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's great. Finally, I wanted to mention Humpe as well.
Yeah.
Who did well? He beat PHL, he beat Sharp, he beat Yappy, he beat Dronin all the way to get 9th. It's pretty.
Yeah, keep showing that he's still got it.
It's just mad, isn't it? Because like you watch Humpe and nothing's changed. Like you know what I mean? Like it's having watched him for years, he plays the same. He's just really fucking smart, and he's good at what he does.
Yeah, let's look into top 8. I think.
Yeah, let's go bracket. Let's have a look at that bracket. There it is. There's the Butte. Thoughts? Come on, Rick, start me off.
We should probably start out with losers, and I think Nikki versus Slavingi. I can't really remember that Levingi won against Nikki. I think it was probably 2 years ago, so that was probably pretty clear to me. Jiraiya Frenzy, I think it kind of feels like quite an upset for me. I think
it's been a long time since Yar beat Frenzy. I feel like that's all. It's been going Frenzy's way almost every single time for the last few years. Okay. Maybe Yar's taken a set or two, but traditionally Frenzy's won that because they normally meet about this point in the bracket anyway, right?
I think like the whole tournament for Frenzy was pretty like it wasn't bad, right? You get 7th, but like this was his chance to actually beat Ice as well, right? Remember your winners?
Yeah,
it was a 3-2. He could have beaten Ice, and then like because he hasn't never beaten Ice or has gotten the chance to play in him on such a long time. So and I don't know, like that loss can maybe shake you from your game as well. If you put yourself so much into that, like fuck, I want to beat Ice, dude. I'm gonna beat him, and then you just barely lose it. I don't know.
Yeah. Then you're going into your next match feeling a little bit tilted, you know.
Yeah, y'all had a pretty incredible comeback this match because I'm just looking at the stocks on Liquipedia here, and it was as I remembered it. Frenzy destroyed him on FD 3 stocks.
What?
The first time Yar counterpicked there, and then Yar 3 stocked him back on FD, and then won the set. And it's just like, how much adaptation was there for a fucking 6 stock
swing? Yeah,
that's crazy. I did mention Yar's always been getting top 8 at these events, and this was the first one where he pushed a bit past that because he beat. I know he just managed to get up to 5th instead, so it's good seeing him push there. And I know he didn't beat him, but he also took a game off Triff, which was really good to see. And it should have been. I think it should have been 2 games off Triff. The Dreamland game was really close.
Yeah.
Just cool to see that he's doing so well.
So actually, Kinzo told me that Jiraiya kind of struggles a lot with Falco. So I'm kind of surprised that he beat Frenzy. I mean, you were also just saying that Frenzy usually wins this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So definitely like surprised to that. But then he just faced the other Falco, and it didn't went well as far as I know.
No, Kinzo did really well versus him, right?
Yeah. Kinzo versus Jiraiya, I think there was also either at Valhalla or the upset where they played, and that was actually just so rough to see.
I guess just the way Kinzo played the matchup, it looks like it has it's more consistent. Because I think when Frenzy and Jar play, it's normally like 3-2 to Frenzy.
Yeah.
Kinzo made it look very, very easy for Falco. I remember, obviously, Kinzo's an incredible player, but his playstyle just made it look impossible.
Kinzo hasn't lost against Jiraiya, I think, since Awakening 5 or something. So
2017?
2019 should be.
Yeah, I was supposed to say, yeah.
So yeah, it's like, I don't know, he just got a matchup down. I think also at Awakening 5 he wasn't at the same skill level as Jiraiya. So I also think he was playing on controller still on that time. So definitely stepped his game up and now just doesn't give him any chance anymore, it looks like.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Moving through it, Nikki getting 5th, beating Levingi in the 7th place playoff. Nikki looked pretty good, but didn't look like too much of a not to take away from it, but didn't look like too much of a threat versus Pipsqueak and Ice. Like maybe just a little bit of a gap there, not a massive one, obviously. But
which is kind of interesting because, like, last chunk of offline events, like Nikki had kind of taken the edge over Ice, hadn't he? Is kind of like number 1 in Germany and had beaten Ice in sets. So
he has never beaten Ice.
He had never beat. I thought he had beat Ice.
No, I think German.
Kinzo beat him at Super Blue. Yeah, I've got them mixed up. Yeah.
So he got ranked first because of
other results. Yeah,
he has never beaten Ice in a set. So it's really hard to tell who's right now the best in Germany. But I would probably still say Ice, to be honest.
Especially after this performance as well.
Yeah. Like, I mean, he beat him just straight up 3-1. And
then he went into Kinzo and beat Kinzo 3-1. So they're the big 2 competitors in Germany on the outside of Ice, and then yourself, Rix, obviously. But
a little bit lower, I guess, right now.
Yeah, that's been nice, right? But it was lovely to see Ice play, though. Let's mention how good it was to have Ice back, seeing him play singles and seeing him be competitive here in top 8, obviously beating Kinso, beating Nikki, beating Frenzy. What do we think about Ice Triff early in winners, top 8?
I was impressed with Triff.
Yeah. Same.
I was impressed with the way Triff played it. Like, he was smothering him, basically. Ice was moving all right. Like, it didn't look like Ice was playing too bad. It was just like Triff was doing his sort of like being just a tank. You hit him and he just like hits you twice.
It felt like Ice was playing really well, like from looking at it, and it still wasn't enough. Maybe it's because we haven't seen Ice play in a while, but it definitely looked good.
Yeah, and in both sets, he both winners and losers.
It was kind of what I was angling at, which you guys have agreed with, that it looked, not, I don't want to say like super comfortable for Triff, but like it was definitely in Triff's favor here. Which, if we kind of flip it, looking at another Fox main, Triff being put into losers by Pip 3-2.
Yeah, that was an incredible comeback.
It was awesome.
The 4-stock on Pokemon Stadium. I think it was a 4-stock, wasn't it?
Liquidpedia says it's a 2-stock.
Yeah, I can't remember seeing a 4-stock.
Maybe okay.
I think maybe it was like on track, and then Triff pulled it. It was like looking.
Maybe
like it was on track to be like an absolute wash, and then Triff pulled it back. There was a 4-stock in the Grands set. That's what it was.
Oh, okay. No, it was this probably.
In the winner's side, it was 2-stock, 2-stock, 1-stock for Pipsqueak to bring it back.
Yeah,
it was a crazy comeback versus the top seed. I'm not sure if it's Pip's first time beating Triff.
I was going to ask that as well. I think it was his first time.
So I think with that, like, Pip has shown that he can now beat every player in Europe, right? Like, obviously last time when he beat Leffen, it was Leffen fresh to the box controller, but still win for Pipsqueak when no one else could.
Has Pipsqueak beaten Ice?
Yes, he has at Super Boo.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah. There you go.
Okay, throw this out there. Remove Leffen for this conversation. Rank just gone. Just put him to the side. We know he's the best in Europe. Okay, so we'll put him to the side. Like, if he's on G, but you watching? Why are you doing that? As if like
no. I'm like, yeah, of course, put him to the side.
Oh, put him to the side.
I'm already thinking like, damn, that's hard.
Top 3 in Europe right now. Outside of Leffen, like Leffen's number 1. Okay, well, put him aside. Right, rank everyone else. Top 3.
Triff is obviously number 1. I'm going to say that. I'm going to get in early and say that because it's the easiest thing to say, and then I'll let you guys decide on the order of the others. I think Pip is in the top 3 for sure.
Yeah, and it's also hard to put Ice there after one tournament, right?
Who else have we got then? Ice. This is part of me. So we didn't mention this yet. Prof DQing from this event was very frustrating.
Yeah.
That's true.
I would like to see he has not completed a S.A.M.E event yet.
DQ'd completely in the first 2 events, and then DQ'd just outside top 8 at this event.
I think he's someone who would be in the conversation for top 3, but I think he would still lose to Ice because Ice always beats him. So I think Ice is. It is tricky to go off of one event, but I think Ice has shown that he still has the skill level to be top 3 in Europe.
And also, like, it's doubles, but I mean, he won the doubles event with 6 coming back. Just first event comes back, win.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
This is after months of practicing Kirby on Unranked as well. Imagine what you do with proper
It's so annoying, isn't it? You see Ice is streaming, and then I go on, it's like he's just playing Kirby, and it's just like
it's so disheartening also for the grinders. Like your Frenzy, your Nikki, your Rix, whoever is grinding so hard, and then Ice comes in, practices Kirby 2 weeks, and then still gets 3rd at the goddamn S.A.M.E event.
Yeah. So are we basically saying at the moment, Triff? Who's next?
I would just put them together.
Triff, Pip, Ice. Are we just not? Is Frenzy because he's at a poor event just not?
I don't think Frenzy is quite top 3 level.
Let's put
He took third the first 2 events, Frenzy.
Fuck, he did, right?
Yeah.
But where, sorry?
He's got third at the upset, third at Valhalla.
Oh, really? Damn.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if he beat Ice, then he would have been third.
Yeah. That's crazy.
That's fucked up.
I think I'm under, even as an English person, I'm undervaluing Frenzy stocks still.
Maybe.
Yeah. Oh, I think it still has to be. I think it's. I don't know.
I think I need another
hard to decide between Pip and Ice. Like
we need another event. Yes.
It's such a difficult thing to evaluate.
We need another event. Is what we need, and luckily enough, we've got one coming in a couple of weeks. We've got Regen Online, and hopefully we'll see all these players that we've just been mentioning compete again. I really hope we see Ice. Like I hope this isn't like Ice shows up once and disappears. But he did mention prior to this that he's likely to be attending more. So fingers crossed we see that.
I just feel like his Fox is like no other Fox in Europe. Like he has a very unique style, which is cool to see.
Yeah, I like to see Frenzy Ice again. I like to see Pip Ice like in one of these events. My last question here: do we think the gap between Triff and the others is getting closer?
Yeah,
because it felt like Triff had pulled away for a while. But I feel like Triff's not got worse, but I just feel like the likes of Pip and stuff are getting closer.
I think there's like, sorry, yeah, you can go.
So I think it's really hard to say because Triff is just coming back from his break. So we definitely have to consider this one. But at the same time, like people like Pipsqueak are getting like a lot better. I still think if Triff comes back to his old self, he's gonna destroy just probably everyone again. Especially because they are playing Fox and he's just so good at this matchup.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is probably, he dropped quite a few games this tournament and a set, obviously, but
I know that Triff's had a lot going on.
He is, he is. This is with him fairly unpracticed. But yeah, there are definitely cracks in the armor. Like we said, Yar took a game and maybe could have had 2 games from him. Ice looked pretty good against him in losing finals. It was 3-2, and Pipsqueak obviously got a set finally, so definitely, definitely volatile still.
Yeah, and I know in a previous conversations, Jim has spoken about how interesting like singles storylines are, and I was a bit of a nah. But I think it is getting more interesting. I think actually having these monthly majors is providing for once some sort of like continuous storyline in Europe in terms of singles, doubles, and crews. And I'm actually the most interested I've been in ages in seeing what's going on between the best players in all events. And I hope everyone who's watching is getting more interested in what is going on in Europe and then what we're providing with the same circuit. If you haven't yet, get yourself signed up to Regen Online. Just literally put REGEN Regen. If you don't know who Regen are a TO team in the UK. They're one of the top 3 TO teams in the UK for Melee and one of the leading, if not the leading TO team for Ultimate in UK and one of the leading TO teams across Europe for Ultimate as well. They're providing Project M, Melee and Ultimate event for Regen Online, which is an insane amount of Smash to be had. Basically, crews are taking place on a Friday this time. So that's Friday for crews, just so that you actually check it out on BTS Smash 1 and 2. Doubles are still on Saturday. Singles this time for Melee is split between Saturday and Sunday. The schedule, by the way, for Regen Online is already on Regen Online Smashergy. Just basically put Smashergy Regen Online into Google. It pops up as #1 link. Get yourself over there, have a look at the schedule so that you can allocate time for this weekend to take part. I believe we've also got amateur brackets, and do we have a ladder going on as well? I do not think we've got a ladder, but we do have amateur brackets. And again, we've got Return of Project M on a larger scale for Europe, which, I love a bit of PM, and it's great to see it back and an event that we can partake in. So that's Regen Online. Get yourself signed up. Let's hit that 300 mark as near as we can for the 4th SAME circuit event in a row. Guys, anything else you would like to say before we say goodbye for the night?
Yeah, thanks for having us again.
thanks for doing this. Like you three are my my trusted panelists.
I just want to say, if you're someone who has schedule complaints about the upset or Phoenix Blue Online, there might have been a couple of people who had complaints. I saw 1 or 2. And you don't sign up to Regen, which has made a big effort to have a different, something that might be better for you, then it will probably just revert back to what it was before if this ends up having a lot less entrance as a result of the scheduling.
What we'd like to have
put your sign up where your mouth is.
Exactly. Me and Jim as same TOs, we would like to see, we've debated this so much, by the way, like the schedule. And me and Jim, I think I'm pretty we might get into a debate now. I'm sorry. Jim, I'm pretty sure you're on the split across 2 days, which I'm on as well. And I think this is an event where we'd like to see similar numbers to the previous events. Then afterwards, we can poll the community and see what they prefer. So get yourself signed up to Regen. Okay. And other than that, if you're not already, please follow @Smash Europe, which is basically just the Twitter account for everything you need to know with what's going on in Europe, across Melee and Ultimate. And also follow Shays as well. Shays is the person who is producing this, Phoenix Smash. Follow them on Twitter, follow them on Twitch as well. And that's it for us. So good night from myself. Would you like to say goodbye, guys, Jim?
Vanavond.
Rix.
Thanks for having me. Bye, guys.
R23.
Thanks, everyone. Catch you next time.
Okay, see everyone. There's no conversations next week. We're back the week after to preview Regen. I'm on my holidays. So bye, everyone. Ta-ra.
Bye.
Ciao.
Bye.
The crowd is alive, dude. Let's go. Let's hear it, ladies and gents. There's nearly. I'm just trying to do this. I can't. Oh no, Trev is racking it up. He's aggressive as hell right now. He's holding center stage. Prof is taking it, trying to wall him out, but Trev finds the fair. He reads the recovery. That's the fair. Trefasia, your winner of Regen 2019 Melee Singles.
Coins Academy is partnered with the same circuit, and for every circuit event, we'll be offering one-to-one coaching services as prizes.
You may be the next Pipsqueak. You may be the next Pipsqueak.
Imagine.